Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia, and I am here to facilitate our beautiful practice today. I'd like to begin by setting an intention. And the intention that I want to bring is actually the year-long practice that we're going to be doing in the Spokane Sangha. For 2026, we are going back to the foundation of Buddhism. And I am emphasizing and encouraging how these practices come alive in each of us. So we're going to be exploring together the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, but we're going to do it in a unique way. We're going to do it in a reimagined way. And the reason for that is because I wanted to reimagine what the traditional language sounds like. When I hear the traditional language of the Four Noble Truths, for example, and I tune into myself and I think, how does this land in me? How can I make this relevant in my own life? I came up with some new words, and I want to share them with you today as a result of that exploration and as an intention. These are prayer flags we created here in Soul Center. They were made by a third generation family in Nepal. The first Noble Truth, friends, is there is discomfort. The second Noble Truth is there are conditions, there are causes and conditions for that discomfort. This is the Soul Center logo. And when we understand the causes and conditions of our suffering, of our discomfort, and also when we understand the causes and conditions of our comfort, because it's not just discomfort, it's also comfort, we experience harmony. And in order to get there, we have to practice. There's a way, the Noble Eightfold Path. And we'll get to that in the spring. Suffice it to say, and for now, it's a practice. So let's practice together today. Today, we're going to take on the first Noble Truth, because that's what we're exploring for the month of January. And it's kind of ironic that I'm smiling, thinking about, let's explore suffering. Hip, hip, hooray. It's not actually how I feel. I smile and I feel joyful about this opportunity to explore because that's how I see it. I see it as an opportunity. I see it as, wow, I get to do this. I've been exposed to Buddhism. I've had amazing teachers. I've been surrounded by devoted Kalyana Mitras, wise friends. I'm part of a community that shows up regularly with me and inspires me every day, all day long. And that is no exaggeration. And that fills my heart to such a degree that it's bursting and I have to smile. Even when I'm about to stand at the edge and look into a very heavy topic, which is suffering or discomfort or misery or grief or sorrow, and its opposites, comfort, peace, ease, joy, clarity, and so on. Today, I'd like to invite a word, and I'd like to invite a concept and plant it into our consciousness as a collective. It's what's coming alive for me in this moment as I think about what's bringing me malcontent? What's even now my brow is furrowing. What's that all about? And I've been thinking about it all morning. And that word and concept is violence. Violence is the source of enormous suffering, pain, tragedy, misery. And it has been since humans evolved, right? There's always been violence and there's always been peace. And I think one of the confusing things about this practice is the way we treat violence and even peace with a very dualistic mind, the way I have in the past. I'm either violent or I'm peaceful. And over time, I've learned to look a little bit more deeply and explore and realize, oh, I'm both. I have the capacity to be violent and I have the capacity to be peaceful. What are the conditions dictating either of those? And with my own understanding, can I get access to the fact that I'm whole? And I understand my violence well enough to apply my peace. And I understand my peace well enough to know whenever it's dysregulated or disrupted as a result of violence. So I'm constantly in this interplay between the two. And that movement between violence and peace over time is what I've been addressing in my own life. It used to be these enormous waves. I'd be really angry and filled with aggression and hostility in my own mind, the way I spoke to myself, the way I judged other people, the righteousness I would feel, the incredulousness that I would engage. And even now, to this day, I can take on a bit of keyboard warriorness and disregard the feelings of others. I still do that. I'm not afraid to admit, but I'm a bit ashamed to acknowledge. And then on the other hand, I have experienced these deep moments of very, very genuine peace, tender, soft ease. And over the years and with practice and understanding, I have found myself just moving instead of this big giant waves, these arcs. It's more flexible, more fluid. Not only that, it's a quicker turnaround. So when I feel the aggression in me, rather than carrying on for a long period of time, unconscious, mindlessly, my awareness is accessed much quicker. So I can get curious about it. I don't know about you, but one of the ways my aggression would last and linger is the way I would berate myself, even in my awareness. So, for example, I'd encounter some situation. One of my favorite situations, actually, that stirs some immediate malcontent, I have to say, is the self-serve area in the grocery stores. Oh God, I hate those places and I kind of love them too. But I can't stand that someone somewhere, like some executive, the story I'm telling myself is some executive said, "Hey, let's have the customers work here. Let's get rid of the people. Let's get rid of these jobs. We'll put in these computers and we'll have the customers do the work, and we'll sell it as a convenience." How about that? And sure enough, I participate in it. And the whole time I'm doing it, I'm grumbling. I'm like, God, I can't believe I'm fucking working here. This is crazy. And I'm really er, agitated and growly. And then when I'm aware of it, then I get mad at myself. God, Julia, get over yourself. You actually really love this. It's moving pretty quickly and you don't need any help. You're kind of nailing this. You know how to look up different items if they don't scan properly. I mean, you kind of got this job down. It's good. Good job, Julia. And then I'm like, I can't believe I'm even congratulating myself. I'm working here for free. And on it goes. That's just in the grocery store. So, what do I do to access that deeper awareness? Well, the first thing I do is I breathe. It's so simple yet so profound. So I just breathe it all in. Wow, look at all this aggression. Look at all this hostility. Look at all this judgment. Look at all this story, all these perceptions. I have no idea what's true or what's not, but I'm sure feeling a lot. Breathing it in, being with it. Huh, would you look at all of this? Wow. Breathing out. That's the first thing. The second thing I do is I remember that someone somewhere in the world is probably feeling similarly to me. I'm not alone in the world. I'm not particularly original either. I don't have a super peculiar mind. I am part of a human collective, which means by extension, someone somewhere is feeling as I am. Who, but do they have access to this practice? Have they had teachers and do they have wise friends? Or are they just living in this pool of hostility, this soup of misery? Ugh. So I breathe that in. And then on the exhale, I breathe out a sense of peace and ease. It's happening for myself. And so, by extension, can I offer it to anyone who might be feeling as I do? And maybe the details are completely different. It doesn't matter. They're feeling frustrated and agitated and annoyed and confused and all of these very human things. Breathing it in. Breathing it out. Now, in this state of agitation and discomfort and suffering, my inner critic voices are quick. And I have one that is, well, its job is to keep me humble. And its job is to make sure I get humble. And so that voice will say things like, Psst, hey, Julia, why are you practicing this? Are you trying to be like some holy person or something? Trying to feel good about yourself? What's this all about? So, in the landscape of my mind, even when I try to do good things, I kind of can't win because I've got this inner critic that's just so quick and ready to cut me down. That's that egoic voice, right? So I look at that Am I? Am I trying to be holier than thou? Can I make space for the possibility that I'm trying to appear a certain way? Can I just full on go, yeah, I bet that's true. Yeah, I don't have to be defensive about that. I don't have to be intimidated by that. That can be true. And the truth is, I know that when I practice this, breathing in an awareness that includes me and by extension others, of misery, of frustration, and I breathe out awareness for myself and by extension others, peace and ease and maybe joy, I feel better. Whether this makes me look good or holy is completely secondary. I feel good. It lands in my mind and heart as harmony. My frustration eases. The tumult of my mind and heart eases. The judgments clear. Breathing in anything that's making me uncomfortable. Breathing out a sense of ease, clarity, and peace. Breathing in awareness that other people just like me feel this too. Breathing out an awareness that others just like me appreciate feeling a little more ease and gentleness and care. There are people in the world in this moment, all over the place, that are in pain, that are dealing with worries, that have just suffered the loss of a loved one, that are wandering around confused, that have maybe allowed a craving to be answered. And now there's confusion and bewilderment about that. There's people seeking soothing, all kinds of ways to soothe from a trauma and a deep hurt. There's so much misery in the world, and there's so much violence as a result. And it's not just weaponized violence, it's reflected in our impatience, our judgments, the harshness in our tone and manner. So much. So, as a community, as a collective, today we have this amazing opportunity to breathe that in as an awareness and breathe out a wish, an aspiration for just a little bit more ease, a little more space for patience, for understanding, for curiosity, for care. So, for the next just few moments of silence, just pay attention to your breathing. And if you can't quite extend this out beyond yourself, that's perfectly okay. Keep yourself as the focus of your practice today. It will extend, your radiance and your care will extend out in the world regardless. That's one of the miracles of this practice, So I invite you to enjoy this practice. Friends, together, let's take a step toward the conclusion of this practice by simply breathing in pairs of opposites, aggression and ease. And on the exhalation, breathe out a sense of wholeness. Breathing in this precious human life and breathing out, being alive fully to experience it all. Breathing in and breathing out. All right. Back to a posture that is filled with intention. And the posture that I want to encourage is sada, heart led. And how you can put your body in that particular position is to take a moment to roll your shoulders up to your ears, roll them back, and bring your awareness and your intention to the front part of your body, that musculature above the heart and below the collarbones. Feel it kind of stretching out a little bit. And keep rolling your shoulders so that you can really tap into those muscles. And even in the back where your shoulder blades are, just roll your shoulders with me. And then notice that your lower back may be arching slightly. That's okay. Let it lift your heart. And then when you finally settle down, Tuck your belly in just a little bit so your spine straightens, but keep your heart lifted. Nice and strong posture, straight spine, neck nice and tall, noble. I'm thinking about that wonderful verse of Shantideva's. For as long as suffering exists in the world, may I too exist to dispel the misery of the world. That's a heavy calling. And yet we can use our lives for just that. It doesn't really have to be anything other than looking at the conditions of our own lives and getting curious about how am I showing up to my life? And by showing up to your life with a little bit more equanimity, we automatically radiate ease into the world. And people feel it, they sense it, they feel relieved by it. And already you've just alleviated some suffering, some misery in someone else. So let's take a moment and breathe that in. By practicing that instrument of peace, wow, would you look at this? Just using our own minds and our own situations, inviting some curiosity and by extension, inviting some understanding. I am going to radiate a little bit of ease into the world. I'm going to radiate like the sun a little bit of warmth into the world, and someone's going to encounter that. And they're going to feel a little bit of warmth and a little bit of ease. We are that powerful. We are that bright. And we are invited to live that fully. Thank you for bringing your practice here. Thank you for trusting this space to hold with you whatever it is that you are enduring. May we continue to aspire to be trustworthy and to shoulder some of this weight for one another. Friends, we'll see you next time. Namaste.